All right, guys, how's it going? So, some of you have been messaging me over the last 24 hours or so saying, Doug, did you see Peter Moore's interview with Talk Sport? I think it was with Jim White, you know, that sweaty sock. The former Liverpool chief executive, the guy responsible for the Ring of Death on the old Xbox one. What was that, Red Ring of Death or something? I don't know. Oh, shit. He basically made an appearance on Talk Sport, sat alongside Danny Murphy. Super Dan, Super Dan, Super Danny Murphy. 13, unlucky for scum. Super Dan, who's alright, it was Danny Murphy. Anyway, so, yes, I finally got round to watching that interview now. I don't like Peter Moore. He's the only chief executive we've ever had at our club that I didn't really like. To be honest with you, I thought he was fake. I thought he was smarmy. I used to see football supporters express genuine concerns to him about certain issues on Twitter, because he was active on Twitter. And they used to, maybe say, why aren't you doing this for this former Liverpool player that's fallen on hard times? Real old school players that were struggling. Or you and the owners, not abusive stuff, just people saying like not really happy with things. And he would retweet those comments. He wouldn't retweet comments praising, but he would retweet the critical ones. Now, if you don't know what that means, it means that if you say something, he retweets it, means that every one of his followers sees it. And you can imagine he has a lot, right? And amongst that followership, the people following, you're going to have people out here that always, will agree. Some of these people, they follow some like a celebrity or someone famous or important in their eyes, and they agree with everything. Oh, looking good, Peter. Oh, yes, Peter. Well done, Peter. There's people like that like fucking loop the loop. I don't just mean in football. I mean like with anything, right? Cringe, absolute cringe. So them people are going to respond. And if it's critical, say, of the ownership in any way, shape or form, your so-called top reds are going to respond. So you could say something, go, I'm really unhappy with the way the club's operating with this former player, and he'd retweet it, and then people would jump on, what do you know? An abuse would then follow for that person. And I used to see it on a regular basis, and he knew exactly what he was doing. And I didn't like that. I really didn't like it. So I have to say that because we're talking about Peter Moore, so it's important that I'm transparent with my views. Because then if I criticise him in a minute to do with his interview, you can say, well, maybe don't say that because I didn't like him. Do you know what I mean? So I always try to be very transparent with my views. So I listened to the interview, and there's parts of Peter Moore that I kind of did like the connection with his dad and supporting Liverpool, and, it sort of came across as right, the sort of person you would want to be the chief executive of the club, and but it felt fake, and maybe it's the Americanism in that. And don't be offended if you're American. My best friends are American. I've got so many friends. I've got more friends in America probably than I have in fucking my own country. What I mean by that is when it comes to American business, have a nice day, and all that, right? And which is nice. Fuck, it's better than England, isn't it? It should change. Fuck off. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that's where I get the smarmy, thing from. Do you know what I mean? But that wouldn't excuse the way that he used to throw people under the bus, and to watch them get abused. He knew what he was fucking doing with that. So anyway, you know that. You know how I feel about that. But there is a little bit of a nice story behind it, and his dad, and supporting Liverpool and all that. Very, very, very nice, whatever. So he's on this interview, and if you want to know the key parts from the interview, he said that in his opinion, the search for the new manager would have started in November, which I think, this new search for a manager didn't start the day after the news broke that Jurgen Klopp was leaving Liverpool Football Club. In my opinion, we know, if you remember, we zoomed in on Jurgen's watch, yeah? Vivek, my main man, Vivek, zoomed in, worked out the exact watch, what it was, so that where the date would be. Zoomed in, fucking everything, found the date that it was recorded, the time and everything, right? Fucking brilliant. So we know how long they sat on that for. And we know, and when it was released, if you just focus, because some people go, does it matter when it was released? You get these people in the comments sometimes. Not the regulars around here, just the ones that are passing by and fucking keep passing with a bit of fucking luck, right? So the day that the video was dropped or the announcement was dropped, in my opinion, something at that point, Liverpool, went, we're making advances now. Someone's going to find out about this unless we drop the news. We've got to drop the news, Jurgen. It's got to go now, right? Because we've had a breakthrough. And I think there is so much more going on right now that we don't know about. Officially, I've got my own opinions where I reckon we're at, but I think there's a lot more going on than, and a lot more not set in stone, because legally they probably can't do that yet. But I think they know what's fucking going on. I really do. Anyway, that's for another video. So Peter Moore's on this interview, and he says, yeah, they'll have started in November. There was probably only 6 people that knew about it. Jurgen, obviously felt it was right to tell the club as soon as possible and not, the last, like in the summer. By the way, I think I'm going to go now. Knew what he had to do, needs a break. Talking about his grandson and, this property being, built in Spain and all that, obviously ahead of him taking the Barcelona. So, I'm sorry. But then he went on to talk about the ownership. And then he sat there and he said, oh yeah, John Henry loves Liverpool, yeah. Oh, he don't get to as many games as he can because he's got all these different things he's got to look after. He can't be everywhere at the same time. But he loves Liverpool. And he said, he mentioned when he was like trying to learn about, who's this Kenny Dalglish person, and all that. But he loves Liverpool, and he's got, he's up there, he's a cheerleader and all that, Maybe not as much as Linda. All right. Oh, we fucking love Linda, don't we? Aspirin. Where's my fucking aspirin? I better take one of them when I go. Linda, fucking. She's all right, is Linda. But I can't. I'm sorry, guys. I know we live in a world of cancel culture and what you should and shouldn't say. But every time she puts a tweet out about clean sheets, it throws me off. My imagination goes everywhere. Honestly, how did we get talking about her? Anyway, what he was saying was, John and Linda love Liverpool Football Club, especially Linda. But he was trying to say that John Henry really cares. That's what it was. But nobody really knows that because John's a very private person. And that when they were sometimes having meetings and stuff at Anfield or whatever, or when John would go wandering off and investigating and that, like in awe of it. Now, I've been lucky enough to be in that position because both as a child, when I was 15, 16, I knew someone that worked on reception at Liverpool Football Club. And as a 15, 16-year-old, I was able to walk into Liverpool Football Club and I was allowed to walk around the stadium as I wanted at 15, 16. Can you imagine what that was like? That's when the players used to come there after training, John Barnes, Ian Rush and all that. Fuck it, I've got the pictures from it, man. I wish we had videos and all that back then, but I remember going up into the main stand, how it looked back then, and just sitting there like that at 15 in the whole stadium to myself. Can you hear my messages going off? Just a minute, guys. A man's got to do what a man's got to do. Can you imagine what that was like? Can you imagine at 15 sitting in that stadium all to yourself? Done it. And I've done it as an adult as well on a number of occasions when the club has invited me in for different reasons, or club sponsors. When the stadium's closed, I don't mean on match day. And I've had the fortunate, there's some videos I think on here, I can't remember. I remember I went into the toilets of the executive toilets in the director's box and all that, carving my name in big dunk was it. I didn't really, I'm not a vandal. But I've been in that situation. I think there's a difference between me doing it and John Henry just saying. Because I think if John Henry's going for a mooch around and he's going up and sitting out in the stand on his own like that, he's looking around thinking, look how many fucking seats we could put in that disabled bay there. We don't need them, do we? Get them fucking kicked out. And we could sell a few hot dogs over there. What, police box? Nah, get rid of that. Fuck that, we don't need them. So I think John Henry's walking around the stadium getting lost in Anfield's a little bit different to me or you doing it. Do you know what I mean? This is just me being bitchy again. But I don't know. I don't believe it. I don't believe for 1 minute, and I would love to believe it. Sounds just sound like fucking Kevin Keegan, and I'd love it. I'd love it. I'd love it if John Henry was as passionate as me and you. Fucking love it. But I don't think he is. But then they start to make it sound like this is being anti-ownership. And I'm not. I'm really not. I don't... Look, they can keep plodding as far as I'm concerned. That's the least thing that's on my fucking mind right now. Honestly, if they ever sell out to the guys in the flip-flops, I'll be over the fucking moon. Trust me. Because I just like football people. Do you know what I mean? But this, I want to make it very clear. I'm quite happy as things are at the moment, right? But I don't trust them as far as I can fucking throw them. So there's my transparency. And I just don't fucking like them business people like that. All right, that's it. That's all it is. So anyway, that's what Peter Moore was on. Peter Moore was just trying to tell you that he wants you to believe that they were, you know, that John Henry really does care deeply about Liverpool Football Club. I reckon John Henry cares deeply about Liverpool Football Club from an asset point of view, but I just don't believe that he gets up, you know, all hours to watch Liverpool play. I just don't believe it. If you had a private jet and you're in America and Liverpool were playing, would you be coming across and say, I know Liverpool fans that fucking take 2 days to get to fucking Liverpool to watch a game. You're a billionaire. Do what you fucking want. It's your businesses. Fuck that. I'm off over there to watch Liverpool play. Liverpool Soccer Club. So I'm sorry, no, I'm not falling for it, Peter. I'm not. And this is where I think he falls in the category of bullshitter. Sorry, guys. It's my true opinion. Don't mean I'm right. Although around here there is a saying, Dunk knows best, DKB. But no, you know, I like a giggle in that way, but I'm not having it. Don't believe it. If someone like Rick Parry had said that, yeah, I would have believed Rick Parry. If Rick Parry had gone, no, he does care, and I'd have gone, all right, okay. No, I wouldn't believe a fucking thing Peter Moore said. Sorry, guys. And if you're watching this, Peter, I think you're a bit ignorant, to be honest with you, and you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so but he might be a very nice man, and he spoke very highly of his wife, and that, so that's nice. And I'm not taking piss now. You know, I like stuff like that. I like family. Do you know what I mean? And I know that his dad was a big deal to him, as dads are to many of us. Although my real dad's alive somewhere. I ain't seen him for about 20 fucking years. I think he's alive. Don't know. I was brought up by. I was going to say I was brought up by my dad. I was brought up by, technically, my stepdad, non-biological father, but to me, he was dad. So many of us, you guys watching these videos, some of you might not have had a dad. Some of you might have had a stepdad like me. So anyway, we're getting into all that shit. We don't need to go down that route, do we? But yeah, Peter Moore does come across as a family man, comes across as very American, but I don't believe anything he fucking says. And it's important, anything he says. And it's important that I tell you all this, because you've been asking me, fucking so many people have been asking about the Peter Moore interview. And I've been telling you I ain't seen it yet, guys, because yesterday was a bit of a fucked up day for me. But I have watched it. It's not worth watching. There's nothing in it, to be honest with you. It's just, I think it's maybe just the American thing. I don't know. I don't like him, so. And I'm sure he won't lose any sleep over it. All right, guys. If you appreciate the video, please thumbs up the video. I'd appreciate if you'd like to leave a comment. If you do leave a comment, I'm going out for a beer tomorrow with Bri Partridge. He's a channel member, watches my videos for years. He's over in Spain at the moment with some friends, some rugby fellas, I think. And they're coming up to my local tomorrow for a few sherbets, 12 o'clock UK time. So fuck knows how that's going to end. Probably in a cell. I hope we share the same one, Bri. If you want to buy me a beer, hit the super thanks, and it will go to a good cause. If you're Muslim, knowing it's against your religion, even though we know you have a fucking drink, we know you do. But if you want to pretend that you practice your faith, you can look at it as buying me a coffee on Saturday morning. Did you see what I did there? Peace be upon him. All right, guys, see you in a bit. All right.